Brian, obviously you mentioned after the Hunter game, that was a clunky performance. What did that entail? Were you relatively pleased enough with the things that you were obviously a little bit underwhelmed with? Like I said, clunky, not the most positive adjective, I guess.
I thought we did some really good things. We showed a hunger without the ball that we didn't replicate with the ball till the second half, and we got, I think clunky is the right expression, just in our execution in the first half, which we went a long way to fixing up in the second half. Against a very determined first half Hunslet performance. So when I reviewed the game with the players, I think we were all on the same song sheet, is that if we get a little bit better with the ball, we'll be a pretty decent team, which we are anyway.
There's a bit of a chaotic end to the game, Brian, with the yellows and reds. Obviously, one to Bailey, but not one to Caelan Foster when putting arm in Tom's face. It's felt a bit haphazard all season, the discipline and the decisions for yellows, reds, and nothings. What have you made of that? I mean, that's been quite frustrating as a head coach at times, some of the decisions this year, the inconsistency.
Well, we haven't got an hour. We've got a preview for a really exciting fixture at the weekend. Our game is not about disciplinary decisions. Mm-hmm. It's not about the amount of time it takes to make decisions. It's not about reruns of a particular incident. I agree with you that the incidents, I think they got them the wrong way around, but that's only my opinion. And I've yet to speak to somebody at the Rugby League, but I will. I think we've got to look at how many tries we scored, who tackled somebody brilliantly, who knocked somebody over legitimately, how the crowd got excited about certain things. It's a head scratcher for sure, but I don't think it should be for the topic of the debate, because I think we're making it that then. And the game is not about the disciplinary and the judiciary. The game should be about keeping people on the field. I do agree with you. I think if there are reverse rolled the sin bins and the send-offs, I think you'd have been nearer the mark.
Obviously, you had to cope without two key players in Joe and Guy against Hunter, but you were very hopeful that they weren't long-term. How are they looking in terms of going forward?
Yeah, no good. No good this week.
No good this week.
No good this week. Hopeful for next week. We also lost Bailey Lou and Tom Holmes with concussion protocols, the ones you've outlined there. So we're at a disadvantage straight away. And somebody who's going to have a sin bin will probably get a few points on his card. So that's the final bit from me on that particular incident. Along with the other injuries, JT and Suter and things like that, we're still scratching around a bit.
Definitely, yeah. Now, one thing that will help with not scratching around, is that you've brought in Fenton on a couple of weeks loan.
Yeah.
You and Lee were sort of in charge in 23, and Fenton kind of made his breakthrough. In that season, he was still a teenager, and yet I thought he was blooming outstanding. How much do you rate Fenton to be able to come in that Bulls team in, like you said, a really tough championship, and do what he did then at like 19, 20? How pleased I to him back? He's obviously someone really special.
Well, he's had a pre-season. He's had some Super League games. He's a Super League player, and he adds impact. And I think, we lost Donaldson and we lost Pele, and we haven't really replaced them. We've got Aribi on loan and see what he provides for us. So I think it's important we stay strong in and around the middle, and that's why Fenton's come in. He's been out for a while injured, but I have absolutely no doubts he's fully fit and raring to go. It's important that we use him properly, and we encourage that people that might miss out on the back of him coming in understand that they've got to play their part still. It's a squad game. So that's the ambition there. I confess to still travelling the length and breadth of the country, still hoping we can find a couple more players perhaps for the running. That's been a bit elusive at the moment, but I'm going back to Fenton, and I'm thrilled he wants to join us. He could have gone to a couple of other clubs.
And with Fenton as well, obviously it was a highly publicised, difficult time. Personally, last year, you obviously had him in 24 as well. Off the back of that, obviously he's gone on and he's kicked on and he's played for Huddersfield in the Super League. How impressed are you with that? I guess some players would have found it very difficult to cope with that scrutiny, and yet he's still continuing to flourish as a player despite what went on last year.
I think it's important for us that we bring people that understand what Bradford's about as well. And Fenton did cut his teeth here, and has helped his progression, and he has an affinity for the club. I think everybody we try to bring back, we're trying to do that. That Bradford feel it's important. But the trials and tribulations of what Fenton's been through are well documented. He's over that. He's fresh. He's wanting to rip in, and I think he's a great acquisition.
Obviously, you're going to York this weekend, Brian. They're a team that have beaten you twice this season.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot of talk from the lads that they wanted to sort of avenge that semi-final defeat, and they didn't. How important is it to take the game on its own merits rather than we've got to avenge that thing? Or is it just in case if you can't get too bogged down in that? Or
You're going to play well first and foremost, and if you're preoccupied with trying to get one back on a boat that you might not even see on the field or something like that, we have to play better than we did. And when we look at the second game at home and the way we conceded, I think we gave them too much last game, particularly at Odsal. We gave them a hell of a lot in the semi-final. Now, if we can restrict how much we give them, like for nothing, so they don't have to earn it. They're a team that dig in. I really admire them. I admire our team as well. We can play football. But we have to make some tough decisions at the weekend, and that will help us. I'm really looking forward to it.
They've obviously won a lot of games in a row while you've been a little bit patchy. For you guys to go there and beat a team potentially that's been in such good form, could that really serve as a bit of a statement if you were to go there and win on Sunday?
Well, it's all about performance, and sometimes you can perform and you don't get a result. We're not into making statements at the moment. The only statements we need to make at the end of the year, when what position we're in the playoffs, how high we finished in the league, they're the statements that you make as you move along. There are some games that say things, so I'm not decrying what you say. I absolutely understand what you say, and a win there would be a terrific result. But that's what it would be, a terrific result. And we shouldn't get bogged down in results as such. Whilst I understand that, it's the nature of what we do, it's the business that we're in, but we should get excited about performances. Now, part of the stuff against Hunslet, there was some really good stuff going on that they practiced. And so our practices this week, if we take those into this game at the weekend, we're a chance. But they're a good team too.
They are indeed. That's not right.
Brian, you mentioned in your post-match press conference with Hunslet that there was perhaps some irons in the fire. One of those irons is Fenton Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any movement anywhere else at the club, knowing that there's a number of players missing with either HIAs or injuries?
Yeah, we're trying really hard, but it's about availability and giving somebody an opportunity from somewhere else if they're up to it, and availability. So there's been plenty of miles done on the M62 this week by myself, yours truly. And sometimes those things drop instantly, and sometimes it takes a week, and sometimes. So I'm hoping that other people will be available for the club. Definitely.
Is this kind of not just for now, but with one eye to strengthening for the playoffs if Bradford should get there and beyond?
Yeah.
Just on Fenton Rodgers, obviously he's been here on loan in 23-24. That's obviously a massive help to you, but also a massive help to Fenton, knowing that he's been in and around this place, the past sort of 18, 24 months.
Yeah, it's a good observation. We tried to get Jaden Myers back recently, but he's injured, so we can't do anything about that. And I genuinely want to keep the community side of it amongst the players of our squad. It's difficult when you add people because you've got to get to know them, etc., etc. So I'm keen to keep a certain familiarity, if not with the Bradford or playing at Bradford, that it's then being associated with Bradford in some way. That can't always happen. Quality always defeats that argument every day of the week, and so we're after quality players. Yeah,
it is an initial 2-week loan for Fenton Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a chance that could be extended past that 2 week? What's your communication with Luke Robinson been like?
Yeah, very good. We've got a close relationship with the Huddersfield club. But we all understand when they're on loan that they're not our player. They're somebody else's player. The Huddersfield's player. And if Huddersfield got a clutch of injuries, I'm confident they want him back. It's the same with Aribi. Aribi's on the verge of having a really, really successful Super League career. So we're not the kingpins in deciding his future. So we have to play that role. A couple of permanent signings, if we could find them, would be good. But again, it's about quality. I'm desperately not just got that fine balancing act of bringing somebody in and timelines as to when we get players back from our injury list. So that's the balancing act we're in at the moment.
And I'm kind of guessing it's been a fine balancing act. This will be the 22nd competitive game in all Bradford seasons in League and Cup, and Fenton will be loan player number 4 that you've only used.
Yeah. The year before was ridiculous, wasn't it? We're also player number 44. And it's important that everybody recognises we're not putting sticking plasters on holes. If we've got something here that can be done, so we do look at our reserves first. Who's ready to come up into the pressurised environment that is our first team at the moment? So you have to protect players there as well. So it's a balancing act. Who's ready and who wants to play and who can handle it.
Conrad Harrell, his loan was up after Hunslet. Brian, what's the latest with Conrad Harrell? Have you spoke to Paul Wellens? Is he still here or has he gone back?
Yeah, no, he's gone back. I really thank Conrad for his efforts. I thought he did some really, really good things and show him why he's been such an impact player over the years. But again, it's about balancing the books at our club. You know, we have to, what we bring in has to be affordable as well and provide consistent, high approach if we're going for that kind of marquee player.
So Conrad's gone back. Obviously, you've mentioned Guy Armitage is still missing. Bailey Liu out with the HIA. That does leave you short in the outside backs. Does that mean there's a chance Kieran Gill remains on the wing for this weekend?
We'll see. We'll see. I think Kieran showed last week why he wears his heart on his sleeve. I thought he was pretty good. I thought he had something like 19 carries. So his work rate was outstanding. And I was thrilled for him because I like Kieran and he loves this club. But it's a plain message, you got to perform as well. The reason there were some question marks over Kieran is because he hadn't performed at times. So if you're performing, you can do whatever you want. And that's got to be the message. What we've got at the moment is a lack of numbers in certain areas that suggests that certain players are playing all the time. That will change. As we get healthier, that will change. You'll have to play.
I was just going to say on Kieran Gill's performance, on a personal note, Brian, watching the game back, you really just see how strong and how much of a contributor to that 34-0 win did come from his performances.
Yeah, he played well. But that's for him to take on board as well. Those kind of headline performances get you noticed and keep you in the team.
Clearly going through this sort of injury spell, Brian, is there anybody who potentially could feature this weekend? How far off is Mitch Suter, George Tafua? What's the latest with those players?
I've no reason to believe that Tafua, Suter, Armitage, Keys, so there's another, Liu and Holmes clearly not because of HIA protocols, concussion protocols, and there was another one. I've no reason to believe any of those will be available.
You mentioned with Nathan, obviously, that clunky aspect. It's not just appeared overnight. It wasn't here when there was that 7-game winning run and there was consistency. How easy or hard do you feel it is for Bradford to shake that off? And I'm kind of guessing, Brian, with the chopping and changes and this fresh injury adversity, is that kind of like a contributing factor to that sort of clunkiness?
No, that the players know what they should be doing, and the fact that maybe it was a disrespect. I spoke about that on Friday. A disrespect for the game and maybe for the opposition. But the opposition aimed up. Everybody aims up against the Bulls. And we have to know that there are certain processes that we've been doing previously that we weren't prepared to do at the start of the game on Friday night. Some of the start was absolutely outstanding, trust me. And that really got me excited for where we might go to again. I think the energy was back for starters, certainly in defence. Execution's about composure. So the effort's first class. If you've got effort, you've got enthusiasm, and you've got structure that's going okay in certain places, you're a chance of winning any game. and there are some parts of the game that we still have to show that we can compete, and this is a great situation to be in.
And the fact that Bradford did have that sort of 7-game unbeaten run shows this side can show a degree of consistency, certainly in, like you say, backing up those performances on a week-by-week basis.
I have no doubt our best is absolutely capable of going on runs and being competitive in any game in this division. No doubts whatsoever. Clearly we'd like less injuries, and clearly we'd like an element of stability that we probably had for a while since that run. But that will come back. If it's not this week or next Friday, that will come back, and we will go on a run. And the close towards the end of the season that is, the better it'll be for all of us.
You mentioned about resting players and allowing sort of like a refreshment process. Obviously, Matty G, Sam Ellis, Michael Lawrence, I presume, fall into that category. Are they all good? Are they
all good
back
to go?
In contention?
All good to go, and all three will play.
And then on to Sunday, Brian. It is a third meeting between York and Bradford, two really good championship sides who bring that out the best of each other.
Yeah, it's a good game, isn't it? It's a good matchup. It's in a good stadium. I think we'll outnumber their fans again, if I'll be honest, which is great for us. We love our fans rocking up and making the noises that they do. I think there's an element that there should be. I'm not saying there is, but I'm confident there will be an element of determination about our group, whoever we put out there.
When you look at Sunday, Brian, it is the third meeting between the two. York won the previous two in the Cup and the League.
Yeah.
How much does those losses motivate your team so that Bradford get the bragging rights in the third meeting?
I don't think it's anything to do with bragging rights. I think it's using emotional language that gets you defeated. I think it's about showing what we can do and showing how good a team we are and that we can get the right side of a result. So I don't really buy into that kind of my dad's heavyweight champion of the world stuff.
No secret, Bradford York are level on points, Brian. I guess the question is, how important is this game for you, for your squad, for the club's goal of that top two finish and a favourable playoff position?
Yeah, I think there's going to be ups and downs towards the back end of the season for everybody. You know, Featherstone are getting stronger. Oldham will get stronger. Halifax will have a kickback from their recent results. They'll come back into the mix. So I don't think there are any gimmies. London look like they've put in something together as well. So that's towards the back end of the year. They'll want to impress. Yeah, I think it's all to play for. I think it would be a great result to win, and I'm sure York are thinking that way too. So you can only do what you can do and put out what's in front of you. And it's genuinely all about performance for us. I'm confident in our team, always am. But we've had the ability to, when we've been beaten, how much has it been what we've given to the opposition rather than what the opposition have done to us? So we have to cure that bit.
York are unbeaten in 10 in all competitions, 8 in the championship round. Just how tough, a test is this going to be for your side? Do you see York tougher than the previous two fixtures you met them, or still the same?
Yeah, when you're on a roll, it's good. The challenge for us is to knock them off that roll. And that'd be good for us. They won't want that to happen, and they've got a system and a process that Mark Applegarth introduced that they clearly all enjoy and understand what they're doing and how they do it. So they're never out of a game because of the way that they play. And we've got to be conscious of that for 80 minutes.
With both sides closely matched, Brian, how do you think this game kind of serves as a benchmark for Bradford's readiness to compete for that top two target that the club want?
I don't know. If you look at the run-ins, we've been finished third last couple of years and came from outside the three, I think, to get in there. So you can ramp up 5, 6, 7 games out. I think we're 9 games out now, or 10 games. It's a good game on its own, and it's for people like yourself to write the narratives about, well, if York do this, they'll win the league by 27 points, or if Bradford don't do this, they're going to finish bottom of the league ladder. Can't afford to get involved in those. You have to focus on getting your best players on deck and playing your best games week in, week out, and the league ladder will look after itself.
And when people in rugby league media broadcast circles are talking about, oh well, Super League goes to 14, you know, what's that going to bring and achieve? You would hope Bradford and York are knocking on the door to be involved in a Super League that has 14 teams. You know, the message is clear and simple: get yourself to the LNER on Sunday, and you can see, you know, 3,000-4,000 fans. It'll be a great game, not just for you and me, Brian, but the players, the fans, and rugby league in general.
The Championship throws out some real quality football and some exciting finishes, of which we've been involved in several. Honestly, I've changed my mind. You know, from when I was looking from outside of the Super League and kicking stones around and looking at the game, we should value the Championship for its community aspect, for the type of clubs that are in there, for giving opportunities to everybody. Clearly, the premier part of that game should be the Super League. So I'm a fan of both. I'm a fan of the Bulls because I'm here, and a lifelong Bradfordian, and there's no doubt my sentiments have been recorded elsewhere that I'd love to see the Bulls back in the Super League. I think the club has made so many strides. We think we do a lot more in the community than lots of other Super League clubs, let alone the things that we do.